Yo, welcome back to another episode of the Popcorn Square podcast. This one is called Fast and Furiosa. Drum roll. Yeah, guys, this one's going to have spoilers in it. Sorry. So, we just watched Furiosa. Me and Kage watched this film. Obviously, it's Neff speaking. Kage buttons here.
What's up?
We're going to go deep dive into this film. I thought this film was nothing short of awesome. I gave it an 8.3 out of 10. Yeah, the beginning, the pacing. I thought the pacing throughout the film was good, but the beginning starts off a little slow, but it is because they are building up Furiosa's character. They are giving you a thorough look into her background and how she becomes who she is. So they intricately go through that in the beginning of the film, and then the film starts to pick up. I would say about 40 to 45 minutes in, that's when the film really starts getting into where it needs to get to, especially when you're comparing it to Mad Max Fury Road. I will say in comparison that Fury Road jumps into the action a lot sooner, but I think overall this film is slightly better than Fury Road. I believe this film is written better than Fury Road, and I believe the acting is better than in Fury Road. There's more depth to the acting. We have Chris Hemsworth as Demantis in the film. Anya-Taylor Joy is playing the young Furiosa. And those are really kind of the main characters throughout the film, but I have to say there are multiple characters that they do kind of put the spotlight on within the film, and I think everybody has come together in this film to make a complete project, and so I really like that aspect of it. To me, it doesn't really come across as one person is carrying the film. I believe that Chris Hemsworth carries the film in the beginning, but then it kind of shifts over to Anya-Taylor Joy, and then she and Chris Hemsworth kind of work on that together. But the movie's about 2 hours and 30 minutes, so it is a movie you're going to want to go get comfortable with. It's not going to be a quick film. It's a really good film. There's not a lot of weak points. I thought the action was really well done. I think I want to say that this film actually had me respect Fury Road more, because even though Fury Road is 9 years old at this point, I believe it came out in 2015, it still holds up even to this day. And so I thought while I was watching this film, I said, man, this really makes me respect Fury Road a lot more. But like I said, I do have this film pegged slightly higher than Fury Road, because I do believe once they get past that 45 minutes of character building, they really put their foot on the gas, really no pun intended there, and they kind of get into where this movie is actually going. And I think the way they are actually able to do that makes it a more complete picture than Fury Road. There are some things that could have been slightly different, but overall, I thought it was a really strong movie, and you could argue that it's the best movie that has come out this year. I do have it slightly under Dune Part 2, but that is not a knock to the film. Dune was the best film we've seen this year. I rated that at 8.6 out of 10, and I rate this an 8.3. I don't remember there being too much of a heavy presence of a score in this film. I think if there would have been some more original music to this film, that might have even bumped it up for me. I think maybe if they would have gotten to the action a little sooner as well, that might have bumped it up to me as well. But overall, I thought the film was really good, and I think this is Chris Hemsworth's best acting performance in a film. All the films that I've seen him in, I haven't seen him in every film that he's been in, but the films that I have seen him in, he hasn't shown this ability to act on screen or shown this much depth in a character. And I feel like this character for him really shows what he can do from the standpoint of being a rangy actor. So I have to applaud Chris Hemsworth for his work on this film. And Anya-Taylor Joy did a great job at playing a young Furiosa and a young Charlize Theron. I'm going to pass it over to Kage here to hear some of his thoughts, and we'll bounce some ideas. But before I do that, I will say, if you guys are kind of on the fence with this film, if you haven't seen Mad Max Fury Road, it is on Max right now. These are both Warner Brothers Pictures properties. So I would advise that you go watch that if you haven't seen it. And then I would say go watch Mad Max Furiosa. This is one of those films that you're not going to want to miss. We haven't had too many of these films like that come out this year, but this is one of those films you don't want to miss. So please go watch this movie, and we'd like to hear what you think about it. But I'll pass it off to Kage to get some of his thoughts on this film.
Yeah, thank you, Neff. Yeah, so I gave the film a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. You know, I don't know how else to say it, but edge of my seat. I was totally invested. Again, you've heard me time and time again. I love a good origin story, and learning the story of Furiosa, of her as a little girl, and then turning into a teenager, and then turning into an adult. There was never a dull moment. You know, this kid's got strength for going everything that she went through, being taken from, you know, her family, and the whole movie is, no pun intended, it's just a wild ride in the best possible way. I had a great time watching it. I never was looking at my watch going, okay, when's this going to be over? You know, like I have with some movies this year. This is my number 2 as well. I'm going to agree with Neff. Dune Part 2 being my number 1 for 2024 so far. This is going to be my second, my number 2. But
to me, it's a close second.
It's a close.
You could argue it's better. Like, you could argue it. But I think, not to cut you off, I think what Dune does is it implements that score that I talked about. Mm-hmm. And I think, although there are great shots of the landscape in the desert in this film, I feel like with this film, in comparison to Dune, I feel like with Dune in general, you feel like there is a world and universe attached with Dune just based off how it is shot, where with this it seems more, I don't want to say marginalized, but it's more compartmentalized. It's more compartmentalized in just this area. It doesn't feel like a world, where Dune feels like it's like massive. So those are the couple things that I said, oh, this is the little differences. But the funny thing is, between the two, as we all know, all these are shot in the desert. So it's very interesting how they connect in that way. But
I mean, that would have made it a different movie if we're watching Furiosa and we see the Shai Hulud in the background, like, oh.
That would have been different.
I would have, like, this is a whole different movie now.
A thopter just comes out.
Yes,
of the
you see it coming over the horizon. Heck yeah. Hey, I would watch that.
Especially if they had some guy with some drums hanging off the bottom.
Listen. No, hey. All right. No, you want to go there? Fine, let's go there. I want the guy with the flaming guitar riding the Shai Hulud. Boom. Profit. There's your movie idea, Hollywood. Go make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I really enjoyed this film. For me, you know, it kind of, we can talk a little bit about this, the marketing. I didn't really see too much, or I didn't watch too much footage, interviews, behind the scenes. I didn't see much. I saw one trailer and I was sold. I was like, I love the other movie, so I know I'm gonna like this. I don't need to see any more. I'm satisfied. I know it's coming. That's all I need to know. Mm-hmm. You know, and I was sold, and my tuition was justified. I had a great time. The acting was great. The action was great. Casting, all that. It was just a great time. I think, you know, post-apocalyptic movies, you got to do them right. You got to do them right. And just seeing these giant war charges, but it's motorcycles and in the desert and trucks and
very
explosions. Yeah, that's another
Innocence.
thing. Yes. No, very practical. There was some CG in there that I did spot. You know, sometimes in cinema that you kind of cheat when you want to show mass amounts of people, mass amounts of bikes and stuff like that. There were some parts where it kind of broke the immersion for me a little bit. I saw people getting flipped off their motorcycles and the cameras panning out, and I can clearly tell, okay, that's definitely CG. But
Right.
but I could forgive it because just overall witnessing the set piece that was unfolding, it was just batshit crazy, and I love it.
Yeah, that movie was awesome. And I got to applaud George Miller, man. Completing his vision on this. He's figured out how to do this film the right way. And I think this just gets people more interested in the previous Mad Max films. But yeah, I like how they just show different areas this time. You have Bullet Farm, Gas Town. They show Citadel again
Yeah.
with a Morton Joe, right? And so you see, going back to it, that character. And if guys, you haven't seen Fury Road, and Morton Joe is really like the biggest antagonist of that Fury Road film. But they go into that. My favorite scenes from this film were when they were actually on Fury Road. This is when they actually have the new rig that they're actually taking the resources to. I believe it was Gastown. And then my second favorite, I would say, was Bullet Farm scene. That scene was really intense. There was a lot of intense scenes there. And also, this movie is more brutal than the first one.
Yeah.
Way more brutal.
yeah.
Like, there's some scenes where it's just like, oh, man, that is crazy.
Well, let me tell you, they definitely.
That's one
earned-
thing I noticed. I was like, this one's way darker.
They earned that rated R.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There's no way they can do this film PG-13.
Nah, you have to take it there.
Yeah, because you see how, I think one of the moments you knew it was coming if you saw the other movie, but Furiosa's got 2 arms, and I'm watching this movie, I'm like, that arm's gonna go. We're gonna see it, but how and when?
How
We
is
know
it
it's
going to
coming.
happen?
We know it's coming.
I
was like,
actually had different theories to how that was going to happen, and then when it happened, I was like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense."
And
my
it was quick.
my theory was that she actually cut it off so that they couldn't get to the green place because she had the star map on her arm.
yeah, I did
So
consider
I
that.
thought that maybe she was so like staunch on saying like no one's gonna find it that she actually took it off. But when you actually see how it came off, it's like okay, that makes sense.
And
And
that-
then you see what happened to her love interest. That was brutal, dude.
Oh my God.
That
But
was
she
dark,
can't
dude.
have a love interest because we know in Fury Road she didn't got a lover.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't make it.
He didn't
Nah,
make it.
and like, cause
You need to watch this movie, Button. You're gonna be like, whoa.
she
You saw Fury Road, right?
Yeah,
you
I
gotta
saw it.
watch this. You
So
have to.
so okay, I'm glad you said
You'll
that.
really like this.
I'm glad you said that because yes, I did go back and watch Fury Road app before this, and I'm gonna watch it again. It's just that good, folks. But yeah, it really makes it more tragic when her whole thing in the first movie, I should say, is the whole movie isn't about Furiosa. She's in it, but her shtick is she has to get home. She has to get back to the green place, and unfortunately, she finds out that it's gone.
Right.
It's gone. The thing that she's been fighting, risking her life for, is gone. And like they have the epic camera pans out, drops to her knees, platoon style, screaming in the desert, and then Paul Atreides comes in to scoop her up and tells her to go. But no,
I will collect you with my other wives.
I am the new emperor.
yeah,
I can have as many concubines as I want.
that's right. It's the future. But yeah, like that movie, it's her about going to the green place, where this is her as a child growing to adulthood, and her whole thing isn't so much getting back to the green place.
getting
It's
revenge.
revenge, and damn is revenge.
And I was gonna
good.
bring that up. I was thinking that might have been a slip in a sense. Like to me, it seemed like she had opportunities in this film to just go back to the green place.
She
And
had so
didn't.
many
She was
opportunities.
just like, I need to get revenge on this person. Because I also think too, you could say that maybe she was like, well, the green place isn't going to be safe if this person's around, so I got to get him out of here first, and then I'll go back.
mean,
But
that
it was
was-
too late by the time she ended up going back. Obviously.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I guess this kind of goes to like, the type of movie, and the appeal for different audience members.
Right.
So, I mean, like I said, I have seen Fury Road, and I remember watching it, and it was an entertaining movie. For me, it's not the type of movie that I particularly care for, only in the sense that, yes, there was a lot of action. Yes, the story was interesting, but it still to me felt like a story that has been told many times over in terms of, you know, what happens when, government breaks down and people are just
Left to their own devices.
left to their own devices, right? And it's kill or be killed, and you have, all the bad guys who have all the resources and all the power, and they're picking on all of the weaker people. So I mean, for me, the story felt, just one that I'd seen in other movies.
I mean,
But to be fair, yes, there's some really cool things that they do. And visually speaking, there's some really trippy things. But for me, because probably, I don't know, like 70% of the movie takes place with them speeding through cars and in the desert, it felt repetitive in that nature. Because, yes, you're going to watch Fast and Furious, and yeah, they're in cars and they're racing, but they're racing through different areas. It's not all desert. It's not all the same. If you've ever made a long drive across, the southern part of the United States and you hit Texas, like Texas feels like
Nothing.
it goes on forever. And don't
know
get me
that
wrong, Texas is huge.
This is why you're
This
gonna
is
like
what's gonna
this
happen.
one more, because this one doesn't focus on that so much. That's the difference between this and Fury Road. Fury Road is literally centered on them just trying to get to the green place.
Right.
It doesn't really switch back and forth that much. This one, it's a whole progression.
It jumps to scenes like this is what.
And now you have
Joe's
different
doing.
installations in this one, Buttons. So
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, it's just on. Like, they're on Fury Road when they get the new rig, but you don't really see Fury Road after that. Like, and that's only a 20-minute scene. It's an intense scene. That's when it really picks up. But after that, there's different areas. And then what you do is you take what you saw in Fury Road and you expand upon it, because you didn't hear about Gastown. You didn't hear about Bullet Farm. So they really open up that compartmentalized area that you didn't know about before.
You get to
so
know
that's why
these
I'm like,
settings.
this film is way more depthy. Like, that's why I have it slightly better. At
Yeah.
first, I was like, I don't know if this is better than Fury Road. And then it started picking up, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is better. Like, this is better.
They show off the different. I don't want to say factions, because you have Bullet Town, you got Gas Town, and pretty self-explanatory, right? If you want gas, you go to Gas Town,
Right.
and
Bullets
so
and
they
Bullet
all
Town.
they all have something that they need that you would need in the apocalypse, right? And of course, everybody wants the place of abundance. The green place is like, oh, we got metal, we have bullets, we have gas, but food, that's something we need. We need to know where this place is, so everybody is coming together. Well, I shouldn't say coming together, because they fight each other, double-cross each other. Like, everybody wants this thing.
Yeah, the
Meanwhile-
closest thing to the green place is the Citadel.
Yeah.
That's the closest thing to it. Because you've seen in that rig, they had all the lettuce and vegetables.
But that guy,
Yeah, he was comfortably laying on the veggies.
all this shit was popping off, and this kid was like, behold my cabbage.
Small guy.
And there's there's the nerd in me that was like, please someone say not my cabbages, like from Avatar. I thought about that. You're welcome, nerds. But yeah, like it was just a really good time. I think one of my favorite things is the same thing from Fury Road, is the fact that it's not just all these cars racing. They have people jumping, hang gliding, full blown out action scenes while they're going 85 miles per hour in the desert. I'm like, ooh, like that right there in itself. It is so
And the angles they take to shoot this stuff.
yeah. The choreograph, like how
The guy
the
before he goes
cinematography.
gliding in the air, he's on like the skates on the desert. And he's,
Yeah.
like, skating. When I saw that, I was like, all right, now we're gonna turn up. And then he like goes up and the camera follows, and you see that angle from down at the rig. It's like, whoa.
I was gonna say, yeah, they have the people, like when they're driving on the road and the driver tells the passenger, hey, can you go under and check the engine while they're moving? And he opens up a panel in the floor, it goes under there. The ground is like speeding 100 miles per hour, whatever it is, and there's just like fixing hoses and all this stuff. Like, it's nothing. I would be peeing all over the place.
Yeah, this
would not be
movie
able
is
to-
definitely, it's like
Well, I mean, if you look at the original,
Yeah.
they're all kind of what Kage was saying. It's extreme almost daredevil, stunts and things like that, where, these people, that's how they grew up. And throughout the first movie, people fall off, they get crushed, they get run over, they get, smashed and abused. And everybody doesn't blink an eye because they're like, this is the end of the world. Like,
Yeah,
happens.
and also too,
you lost your arm, you get your head bashed
build a
in.
new one.
Like,
the War Boys. I love the War Boys. The white guy, the literally white guys who are like, "Witness me," and he just goes
Blows
in there and
himself
blow.
up.
I'm like, God damn,
And
like they don't care.
also too, Buttons. What you like about this one too is they have Morton Joe as the main character, main antagonist. But what they bring in with Hemsworth's character is the other antagonist. So now you have multiple people that you're focusing on. So it's like, wow. But like I said, yeah, this is Hemsworth's best acting performance. I don't even think it's close. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't seen him act like this ever. Like, this was a different gear he put it into with this one. Like, it was just like, wow,
Yeah,
like
there's
this guy's really acting his butt off
he's
here.
going for that Oscar, eh?
Yeah, well,
Dude, it was crazy. Like,
Let-
I was
you
like,
know,
man.
let's talk about that because we talked about this off mic about Chris Hemsworth. Now, when you say Chris Hemsworth in movies, what's the first thing you think of? Thor. And that's rightfully so, right? He's done Avengers movies. He's had multiple Thor movies by himself,
It's probably
I
one
think
of his.
Thor and Extraction.
Well,
Yeah,
Thor.
okay.
Thor is probably his most notable.
Of course.
Right, right. But
Because if people
even
don't
close.
have,
That's his
because
most
if people
notable.
don't have, Netflix, they're not going to have seen the Extraction movies.
right, right. And so that's
was
what
in Men
you
in Black,
know
too,
him
but-
for.
Well,
and
that
so-
movie bombed hard.
Right.
Wait, which movie?
Men in Black. They did
International.
Wasn't
Men in Black International.
Oh, I can dig deeper. Sorry, folks. He was in the Ghostbusters reboot.
Yes, he
Ah,
was.
interesting.
He was the nerdy reception.
He was the receptionist.
in the all women's one, and that's as much as we're going to talk about that. All right, so
But
moving on.
he actually did a pretty good job with that role.
He might have
But-
been the best thing in that movie.
But I mean, he also had like a brief role in. I think the movie was called like Vacation or something like that. He plays like this.
They did a Vacation remake.
Well, yeah. I like I said, I might have the name wrong, but I think it was called like Vacation or something like that. Maybe RV. No, I don't remember. But anyway, he plays like this weird character that's like coming on to the guy's wife, and
He was in
just like a
Cabin in the
little brief.
Woods.
Yes.
Yeah,
He was in Cabin in the Woods.
another brief little.
I mean, but that was a good movie.
It was cool.
I don't care. That's just a good time.
I own it.
See, there you go. I love Cabin in the Woods. I watch it every year. Every year when I catch it on stream, I will watch that. Well, what I want to talk about, though, is that with the Furiosa, I kept forgetting, and this is the good thing, I kept forgetting who I'm looking at because his voice was changed. He had a nose prosthetic. You could have told me that was some WWE turned actor, and I would have believed you. You know what I mean? He's like, ha, ha, ha. Like, he talks like that. And the real actor is Australian. So he's doing, an American accent, but he's like, ha, ha. Like, you can tell, I was like, this guy was from the South before the world went to shit. But his character was just good. And he played a different type of character. It's like you said, Neff, he wasn't superhero. I think this was
He's
our
the
first,
bad guy.
This was our first time seeing him a bad guy.
He's worse than a Morton Joe.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
And he's like, that's not your daughter, is it? Well, no, but he had to get it out of him. And he goes, I want the girl, that's mine. And I want this and this and this. And he like looks at the girl, he's like, all right. And she has no say in it, but it's just like, he was a great villain. And seeing him, how the movie plays out, seeing him towards the end there, I really enjoyed the ending because in movies you typically the ending you see is what you get, right? And in your mind you might think, well, it would have been fun if they did this or they should have done that, blah blah blah. And the movie actually shows, well, what if this happened? What if this happened? It shows you multiple scenarios, so to speak, and then it says, but this is actually what happened, and that ending was, you guys can't see it, but chef's kiss. It was, it was very well executed. I don't know.
And then they tie it right in with Fury Road, which is awesome too.
Yes, thank you.
So that leads into the next topic of a sequel, which I don't think there is going to be a sequel because you didn't have to bring
This
back.
is a prequel. We
right,
already have a sequel
and
to it.
you connected it right with, right, Fury Road. So you would then have to bring back Mad Max, Furiosa to show what happens after the events of Fury Road, and we know that Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron don't get along, so I don't think that's
No,
going to happen.
no, they do not. Yeah, because the thing I read.
Now, if anything, you have to bring back Max because it's Mad Max.
The character, yeah.
So you have to bring back Tom Hardy.
But I have seen some articles, and I'm inclined to agree that if they wanted to make a new movie after Fury Road, like chronologically, I feel like we can continue this franchise, not going Fast and Furious status, but we could make another movie.
You're angling for that trilogy.
Maybe. We don't need Mad Max. Furiosa as a character has proved that she is interesting enough to carry a film. The character now, whether they want to do Anya-Taylor-Joy again, that's anybody's guess, But I really enjoyed the character. I like Mad Max. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking on Mad Max, but her character is interesting enough that I would like to see something else. It's like, what do you do? Green Place is gone. What complexities can you show me with this character? What more could they fight for? Could they come up with a good story? But then again,
Interesting angle.
Yeah, but I don't know. So it should be noted that the actor who played Joe unfortunately passed away in real life. And so with Furiosa, they came up with a new actor to play him now. This is one of those roles you can get away with that because he wears like a respirator, a gas mask.
And it's a prequel. So you
And
just
it's
say, he's younger now.
And it's a prequel, yeah, so you can spin that. Because his face is covered, just get a heavy-set guy, paint him white, give him white hair, boom, you got your Joe. He doesn't really have very much speaking roles. As long as he can invoke fear and pump the water, so to speak, I think you're good. But yeah, that's something I'd be open, personally.
Interesting. Yeah, I'd like to see what they do with the story with that one. I think they're going to have to take some time to really look into that. I wouldn't want them to rush into it. I kind of feel like there's not going to be a third film because if you actually watch the credits, they show a lot of scenes from Fury Road. So it's kind of like we're closing the chapter on this with two films, which is a good two-piecer. Like, I don't know if there's two films where they're connected to each other that's actually better than this.
Agreed.
That stops at two. I don't think there is. This might be This might be the best two-piece film setup.
Quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Because I think if they just left it like this, I'd be satisfied. If they did one more movie, just showing Furiosa after, showing like a new plot, just one and done story, I would be open to that. I can't speak for you guys. I'd want to see that.
So we have a budget of $168 million, not bad. Currently sitting at a box office of $58.8 million. We still have to get through Sunday. So we'll be able to see some more numbers more than likely on Monday and Tuesday, and it's a 3-day weekend, so that's actually going to help as well. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if this thing's at probably 80 to 85 by the time we get to the end of this long weekend. But yeah, It seems like this is happening to all the movies, though. The budget's not bad. I feel that Mad Max is kind of a niche genre at this point, so it has its dedicated fan base, and those people are going to see it. Is it going to have the mainstream appeal? I don't know if it's going to have mainstream appeal, and the movie's pretty brutal. So I think this is not going to have that mainstream appeal that will get it to probably 700, 800 million.
Definitely not going to bring the kids to this one.
Definitely not for kids.
No, not for kids. Question.
Yep.
We've talked about this in
hope
other
it does
episodes.
well,
I hope so too. Do you think that this would get higher box office if it was a summer release?
Well, technically it is a summer release. It's May. It's the end of May.
I don't know. I'm waiting for you to tell me it's Christmas already. 2024 is flying.
It'll be here before you know it, bud.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, I
This is
definitely,
technically a summer release.
yeah, I
okay,
give
that's
him,
fair.
I give him, you know, as far as with the marketing for it, you know, they picked a good weekend for a release, especially
Yeah.
with the market being so niche, because it gives people who might, you know, would normally have had to work an extra day to go see it.
That's fair.
That was a
And
great choice.
so for that, going up against, you know, probably the closest thing for competition in the genre that it's in would have been Planet of the Apes. So they gave it a little bit of time, a little buffer between when Planet of the Apes came out and then when Mad Max came out. So it, you know, they gave people a chance to go see that movie, and then the hope was that, okay, you've seen that one, now here's something completely different.
Yeah.
And it being so niche, to me, I don't think that the number of people who are going to go out and want to see a movie, I don't think that the number is going to really show that in the box office in terms of, you know, fully encompassing all the moviegoers. And as we've talked about in the past with, you know, when the cost of everything has gone up,
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
families have to be a little bit more picky and choosy. And this isn't really a date movie. I would definitely not say it's something that, you know, yeah, maybe you guys could make it a date movie, but it's not like a romantic date movie or anything like that, because you're going to see people
There's
get their
about
heads
5 minutes
bashed
of romance in
and,
it.
and you know, and
Yeah.
there's content in it, just like in the first one, which can make people kind of cringe and really be upset and trigger, you
Yeah.
know, certain
It's-
things. It's not going to be a super happy, fun kind of fun. I mean, we talked about The Fall Guy. That's a date movie, right?
Right.
Like that's a date movie. This movie is, you want to go see some shit get blown up. You want
Yeah.
to see some people get their heads bashed in.
America.
You want to see the death and the carnage.
Hell
Like
yeah.
that's this movie. So it's more, you know, yeah, and I'm not saying that girls won't go watch it. I'm just saying that if they're looking for a date movie, it might not be this one, unless they're just really hardcore into
Grab a
that
beer,
kind
get the
of.
boys. We're going to have a good time. This movie is so good.
And,
Go see it.
And especially if you're like, well, I got a sitter and I got all dolled up.
Yeah,
for
no,
me,
I hear you.
For me, that's not this movie. This is like what do we want to go watch? Oh, yeah, sure, let's go
And-
watch that one. We'll give it a try. You know, that I feel like is
It's
what the
very-
audience is going to show with this movie.
I agree with the whole niche comment that we've been making, that we have a lot of post-apocalyptic movies of machines taking over Terminator, Matrix, or I mean, I could go on. We have a lot of Planet of the Apes. That's a post-apocalyptic movie,
Right.
And this one is very different.
It's a much bloodier, gruesome view of it.
It's more set in reality.
It's more set in reality, yeah, because people, just like in any post-apocalyptic
people
story, how people behave, we don't care. There's no law anymore.
There's really no gimmicks.
There's no-
like. There's always a gimmick with these post-apocalyptic
Yeah, like the
movies,
M.
like
Night
Planet of the
Shyamalan
Apes.
and-
Like that's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
happening.
yeah.
Or like the Matrix. Oh, all the Sentinel machines. Like that's not happening. Like it's a great idea,
Right.
but that's not happening.
This is more like-
okay.
Earth is a
the
barren
Earth has
wasteland.
the Earth has no. Well, not that there's not. There's resources, but there's limited resources now, and there's people in these real compartmentalized areas, and now it's who can get the
I
resources.
have
and
bullets.
now
I
it's,
have food. Oh, I have gasoline.
I want what they got now, so let's go
Right.
beg, barter, and steal and war
Right.
out for this stuff. So I
Yeah.
thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
That's what I like about.
then you
Mad
got the
Max.
one boy
and then
holding
just the
down
way
the
it's shot
cabinets.
visually. I just think the visual style of how the movie shot is what intrigues me the most. But I do believe, like I said, the difference between this and Fury Road is the depth within the writing of the story this time around.
Yeah.
This story is much stronger. Much stronger.
Got the meat and potatoes.
The meat and potatoes
Yeah.
are delicious with this one.
Yeah, folks, you're eating good with this movie, that's for sure. It's just a solid good time.
Yeah, we kind of talked about everything there, even
Yeah,
the
we've-
future. Like I said, of course, I would like to see another Mad Max because I like the style of film.
But you'd be
But like I
okay
said, it just
if it
needs
stopped
it.
here.
I would be okay if it stops here because they've ended on a high note, and sometimes you got to walk out on a high note and say, you
Yeah,
know what,
you don't-
we had our vision for this, we completed our vision, we did it the way we wanted to, and I think it's time to wrap it up and maybe do something new. And if someone else wants to try to take on a different story, because
You could. The universe is already established. You could
there's
create a
plenty
new
of
character,
different
or you
stories
could
within
bring-
Mad Max. So
Right.
you have the ability, like you said, Buttons, to say, how about we take this film that we got, another Mad Max film, and we shoot it from someone else's perspective, of someone
Bring
that
a
maybe
new
have saw these
character.
events, and then you have a whole story based off them. Like,
They
Sure.
could
you see what
even
I mean?
tie it to Fury Road if they wanted,
Hey, yo.
just the way they did this.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I feel like to do another movie with these characters, and again, I know earlier I did say that I would be open to seeing another movie with Furiosa, like telling a different story,
Right.
but just one more movie.
Right.
But
Yep.
if they ended it just like this, I'd be okay with that too.
Yeah, this is a definitely buy on Blu-ray
Yeah,
for me.
yeah.
So,
This-
and I'll probably watch it one more time in theater. I might not. I don't know, but I might just buy this one on Blu-ray and watch it in my house. But yeah, definitely, it's a 2.5 hour film, so get comfortable. But it's definitely
It's a
worth
comfortable
every
2.5
minute.
hours.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
pacing's great in this film. I'm not gonna say it doesn't feel like a 2.5 hour film, but I do think it is paced well, and there's not a lot of slow parts. Like I said at the beginning, they really work on the character building, which I do have to give them credit for. In a lot of movies, you see that they don't build characters up, and then it's like you kind of just get what you get, and you say, oh well, it would have been nice if I knew a little bit more here, a little bit more there, and it doesn't even have to be a character. We've talked about this with Night Swim. We're talking about a lake, a pond, and we want more development on that. So just take that out of it. But they work on actually building up Furiosa's character, so you actually see how her character progresses in life, and you see why she does the things she does. And I think that's a really good aspect of this film, along with the action and the other players involved, because she's not the only main character. So I felt they did a really good job of balancing all these characters together, coming out with a complete film. So yeah, it's the second best film I've seen this year.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's a close second to
absolutely.
Dune. It's arguable. Like, it's arguable you could say it's better than Dune. Because I could see people saying, well, Dune
I think-
Dune does a lot
I
of
think
things
it
really
goes-
good.
I think it just goes
But
into your
I could see
niche.
I could see a lot of people saying Dune is boring. Like, it's
I
not
think it-
boring. Like, the beginning, like I said, it builds up. But once it gets going, after that, it's going.
It depends. I think it depends on you.
I like
as
Dune more
in-
because it's a sci-fi film. I like sci-fi films more.
Right.
Agreed.
Where this isn't a sci-fi film. It's more
No,
based in
it's-
reality.
like you said, it's that
exaggerated.
post-apocalyptic-
It's exaggerated reality,
Yeah.
but it's more based in realism.
I think
where
it,
I'm
it
more
turns,
of a sci-fi buff.
Yeah, I think it really goes with what you as an audience member, what your preference is. You know, if you want like a giant space opera, you're gonna go with Dune. But if you just want a story, just show me this. I don't need the expansive lore. I just want to go along for the wild ride. No pun intended. You're gonna go with Furiosa.
To me, I call Dune a space opera, kind of like Star Wars is, and this is a desert
Accurate.
opera.
Yep.
This is a desert opera. This
Des-
is the
yeah.
film that, when you think of films that are shot in the desert, based in reality, anything post-apocalyptic, you're going to be thinking of this Mad Max series. This is the bar for that. When it comes to sci-fi now, Dune is the bar now. So they all have their niche, I should say.
Yeah. That's pretty accurate.
Any other thoughts, guys, on this one?
All I can say is everyone go see it. If you've already seen it, go see it again.
Me and Kage give it
Support
2 thumbs up.
Yes.
4 thumbs up if you put them all together.
Boom.
Anyway, with that being said, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of the Popcorn Square. Please like, subscribe, comment, ring the bell for notifications, and share with a friend. It helps us out. If you did see Mad Max Furiosa, please comment below and let us know what you think. We'd like to hear it. With that being said, I'm Neff signing off with
Kage.
and
Buttons.
be safe.